Tin Man on the beat.
What's up, everybody? Tin Man over here. Welcome to the first live talk DJ discussion that we have going on. Have some really cool content that we'll be talking about and discussing, mainly pertaining to DJing dance events and pretty much giving our experiences. And when I say our, we have some special guests tonight. Leading the talk tonight, we have the one and only DJ RITASPIRIT, whoop whoop, and then we also have joining us our brother DJ Maze. And I don't want to waste any time. I'm gonna cut over to the next scene, and we'll just get it popping. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and let's have some fun. All right.
Hello everyone. So my name is RITASPIRIT. My pronounce is she/her, and I'm originally from Ukraine, and now I'm living in Canada. Yeah. And first I was a dancer, and then I found my way to DJing. Or actually, I found my way into DJing like since I was kid, because I always like to collect cassettes, and that was like
Dang,
my
you said
best
cassettes. Sorry, go ahead, keep going.
Yeah. I went like to the market with my mom and buy like new releases like since like very young age. Yeah, and so I was blessed to DJ like because I travel a lot. I was DJing around like Asia and around Europe quite a bit, and now I'm based in Canada, so I'm very happy to be here and share music also in Canada and US. Yeah, and today we have our guest Ace, and he immersed himself in street dance culture at 12 years old, and he has been competing since he was 15 all over the country. Damn. And I witnessed it. He is a great dancer. And he made the jump into the DJing in the late 2020, and since has done dance events, weddings, clubs, pool parties, and more. Yeah, and just follow him on Instagram, on SoundCloud. He has his music. So yeah, and last but not least, Tin Man.
What's up?
Dun 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 dun.
Yeah, Tin Man representing Long Beach, Homeland, JMC, and Feel Good Collective, which has anniversary tomorrow, 10-year anniversary in LA from 9 to 2, and I'm sure he will tell us more about this. And he was inspired by Michael Jackson dance and music, and began his journey into popping in 1998. I was like 4 years old at this time when man was already rocking the dance floor. And then he shifted practice into animation and started producing music in 2006. And in 2010, he shifted his passion from the dance into music and DJing. And from myself, I can add, like, I started to listen Tin Man quite a bit ago, being in Europe, and we were like, oh wow, like so dope producer. And yeah, at some point, like kind of like my group, some people were like, don't put the Tin Man anymore, because like we all the time listening him, like we were just like listening your music for all the practice.
That's crazy.
And, yeah. Oh, I can add, like, you are like a big influence in the European scene as well.
Oh,
yeah, a lot of people know you, and yeah.
No, you're a big
Um,
influence over in the U.S. too, and you should definitely get your flowers on that as well. Like
Oh man.
when I was living in Florida, like we used to listen to Tin Man all the time, and when I moved to LA, I didn't even realize you were Tin Man until like you said, "Hey, I'm Tin Man," and I'm like, "What the heck?" It's like I just listened to your song in the car. That was weird. That's cool. I mean, like it's always cool to like meet like good people who do really dope stuff. So
Dude,
kudos to you, man.
it's an honor. Thank you guys for supporting me, and it the love and care and support and the energy is reciprocated back to you guys because you guys are the ones that inspire me and keep me going. So thank you.
Tin Man,
e-
Tin Man, Tin Man.
Alvin, Rita.
Oh
right.
man, this is good.
So I wanted to ask you, who is DJ for you, and like what is the role of the DJ? What defines good party and battle DJ?
Mhm.
Because like all of us were DJing in dance events and as well as in party and other gigs. So like, who is actually DJ? Is it like the person who scratch really good or use as much effects as they can or something else?
Alvin, you want to go?
What is it?
Yeah, I mean, I can give it a whirl. For me, I feel like the DJ is almost the most educated when it comes to music in an event. You know, they are psychologists. They are your therapists. You know what I mean? It's like they really know how to read, a crowd, right? So it's almost like it's a science that there's no textbook for. I feel right. Um, and a lot of people will think like, oh, I got to get like the most expensive, like turntables
Yeah.
or the expensive controller, and I'll be a DJ, right? But it's like, it's definitely cool to be able to kind of like get like the mechanics.
Mm-hmm.
But I really believe that when it comes to a DJ, right, it's are you able to move a crowd through a journey with music, right?
Yeah.
Um, and then also how do you set that tone in whatever event you DJ, whether it's a dance event or a party or a club or whatever, right? But like you're the last thing that people kind of remember sometimes, you
Mm-hmm.
know. Um, so yeah, that's my thing. That's what I love about this journey that DJing's kind of been for me and everything.
That's awesome. Is it my turn? I
Yeah,
don't.
it's definitely your turn now.
Oh man. I guess for me, growing up, the DJ has been always like the life of the party, right? Because it's like it's a one man party technically in that sense, where like I've watched my brother growing up. He was part of uh, I wouldn't even say a b boy crew because back then it was called breakdancing. Like and when I grew up, right? Like a breakdance crew, and everybody in that crew knew how to do everything from beatboxing to breakdancing to popping to locking, and it was just like a melting pot of all of that. And watching him, he would DJ the house parties, and it literally was just like used to help him carry the record crates, and so like the role and for I feel is like is bringing the experience to the people, your community. It's like bringing the energy, depending on whatever the event is or whatever the situation is. For me, it's always been like providing a good time, for people that that or don't know, and yeah, that's my experience and what I think like their role is, in terms of uh, in DJing
Hmm.
and in hip hop, right?
Rita.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. And to add on, I think like for me, DJ is also like the bridge between artist and audience. So yeah, like without DJ, like who will play the artist, and like a DJ introduce what is like new in the industry, educate people like from different, like what is it in different eras. I think it's also very important to as a DJ to represent like different things, like you represent also female artists. It's
Yeah.
like even though like I am female. At some point, like I was playing just like male artist, and then like I was working in the club in China actually, and then I was like, yeah, actually, like, and then I start like to really dig into like female artists, female producers, and yeah, I found like so many, and it brings different vibe, and yeah, so I think like a big part of DJing is like education for me as well, and also yeah, like just knowing like what to put in this moment, in this exact moment
Right.
for these exact people. And yeah, like as Alvin said, like it does not like really matter like your equipment, like you can kill party from, yeah, I don't know, from
Yeah.
small
Yeah,
controller in from,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if I can interject, I mean, from what you said, like, you know, you're choosing the vibe and the energy to change in that certain moment, and the next song that you're about to put is going to change that energy. And it, you know, us as the DJs, I feel like that's a very important thing is to read the room, you know, like how we always do. We're like looking, all right, this song's gonna match, you know, and I feel like it's gonna even create the vibe even more greater, you know. It's almost like a paintbrush, right? Like we're painting the whole night, right, with the music. And that's awesome to hear that, you know, we share that same thing. But yeah, continue. That's awesome.
Yeah, to add on to this, like I think also to increase the vibe, but also sometimes to take a pause.
Oh.
It's like at some point you can't yield like anymore, and
Mm-hmm.
then you need to decrease the vibe and then start all over again
Right.
and take a pause and build again.
Yeah, you're controlling it, and definitely, you know, you're controlling the vibe, and also like you're right. You sometimes we can't just keep building up, right? It can't just go crazy all night. It'll just, you know, sometimes you want the people to take a break, and you want the message, like how we said, what's our message? Sometimes you want people to communicate, right? Whether that be through dance, or like maybe they take a break, we play some slow, maybe hip hop beats or something, and they can go get a drink and, you know, talk, you know. It's more than just us. For when I talk about when I'm DJing, and, you know, when I think about music, it's like it's beyond, like when we're performing as a DJ, right? I feel like it's beyond us, right? Because it's sometimes it's about us, right? Because we want to introduce like the new music and everything, but it's mainly about the people that are, you know, that are coming to listen to the music. But yeah, continue.
Yeah. And how do you think like DJ can help judges and dancers during the dance event?
Mm.
Maze?
Tim, man, you should do that one first, actually.
Me?
Yeah.
I mean, I've been to many events, right? Where, and I've DJed many events where like DJs, some DJs that are like that that are just in their element already, you know, that they've been in the game for a long time. They don't need a specific song. They just go, "Oh man, just throw on whatever. I believe in you. I trust you," right? And that always feels good to me when a DJ, or not DJ, but a judge or a dancer trusts in me and my ability to provide them the right song for that moment. But in terms of like helping judges and dancers, it also, you know, providing the variety of music to showcase the dancers abilities, you know, in different ways, and not just playing like a singular type of beat, right? Because in popping, you know, in popping music, it's always boom cat. There's like maybe certain variations, but now the good thing is that music in popping now is such, it's more diverse now, right? It's not just like the one or the three and the four, right? And the boom, the clap, the kick and the clap. It's just now it's more intricate, and you know, I feel like, I mean, other than I'm losing my train of thought in that sense, because like I can talk way more, but I don't want to, you know, eat up time. Just, you know, I feel like the DJ can help the judges and the dancers just in what I said earlier, which is, you know, providing the music that can, you know, mold the event and the dancers in a way where it showcases their strengths and weaknesses too, because, you know, that will help the dancer as well, right? Once they realize like, oh, I don't really dance well to slow music, you know. Uh, or dance fast or good to fast music, you know. So it's like they have to find their balance, and then they go, oh man, I need a lab, you know, I need to go back to practice or something, right? So yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think in the terms of how we help judges or dancers, right? You can also kind of separate it in, like, for example, how do you play during ciphers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And compared to how do you play during the battles, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, for me, for example, like whenever I start building my crates for battles, right?
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's one of the things like if I'm not dancing to it, I know it's not gonna be good. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, because I feel like it's a little different. Like when it comes to like being in a cipher, like spinning for a cipher, right? Like you can always just build it, right? But like for battles, it's like, all right, you play a song, and you kind of look to see like, okay, how do they react, right? And I think sometimes what happens is, you know, um, as a DJ, you still have to read the room even when you're playing for battles. Um, Instead of just playing a random song, right? You should also know, like, okay, like this is the type of battle I'm gonna be spinning in. This is what I kind of like to hear, but this is what I want to see, kind of like challenge, like people, who I guess for lack of a better term, right, are like enjoying what I'm playing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then in turn, right, what it does is it not only you can not only like help them by like giving something that's more nostalgic, like we hear it all the time, like people are like, oh man, like I really like dancing to like old school like hip hop or funk or whatever. But then also in turn, after that first round, right, you're like, hey, this is something where you're flipping, and it's like, oh man, like I've never heard this before. So now it kind of like eases them into like something new, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like, oh, if it would have just been me, I probably would have just skipped over this song, right?
Mm-hmm.
But now it's like, well, I've never thought about listening to this song right after this one, or I've never thought about like battling to this song. But I really like the way that you kind of like flip this here and there, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah, I think you know we can help judges and dancers for sure. I do think though it is very like give and take, right? Because I can only know so much of what to do for you as a DJ if you're also very communicative as well, right? So like if you're just hugging the wall and like you're one of those dancers who just hugs the wall, it's like, all right, well, it doesn't matter what I play for you, like you're just gonna hug the wall. But if I see that mm, or
Right.
the
Oh, the stank face.
the stank
Oh,
face,
yeah.
right? Then I'm like, okay, I'm on to something, right? And I just want to help you have that stank face for the rest of the night, you
Mm-hmm.
know? Um, yeah, that's my thought on that actually. Ooh, we got
Agreed. Agreed.
Yeah, I also like agree with what you said, and I also think like how can DJ help judges is and dancers is to prepare. Because
Oh yeah,
like I
heavily.
think like, some DJs don't really prepare for the playing specifically in the battle. Like, cause I'm also a dancer. Sometimes I go and like get the same song for like a two all style battle, and I was
Oh
like,
wow.
cool. Can't you dig something new? Or like have a bridge like in my 30-second round, and I'm like, cool.
Oh
But
yeah.
like I think yeah, it's like really inappropriate, and unfortunately like I meet like this like a lot during yeah, the years I just been involved in the hip hop culture. And yeah, it's always upsetting because like how would the DJ like put some bridge if like the dancers were traveling to the event for like long time, or like they put a time to come to the event, and why did not you put it in time to prepare your song carefully? Or like for instance, if
Mm,
it's like house music and it has long intros, then just choose like if it's like 30-second round, choose like the best part of the song, like with the like best
Right.
energy, and
Right.
do your homework. Yeah, I think this is like a big part.
Right.
yeah, to
Right.
actually
Yeah.
piggyback off of that, right? It's like you're right. Just preparing the music. So like I remember I did a dance event one time, right? And I was doing it right next to another DJ. And for me, I get anxiety if I don't have my crates ready 2 days before an
Yeah.
event. You know what I mean? And even then, like even if I have it ready 2 days in advance, I hear something I'm like, oh crap, this might be a little bit better. So I'll switch it out, right? But like I'll literally like I'll prepare by being over prepared.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like building my crates, making sure that like I'm getting in contact with my judges. Like, hey, are you guys gonna be doing a judge showcase? You want me to pick music? Let me know like 3 days in advance. You know, like send me files, whatever, right? What else is gonna be playing? How many rounds are we doing per battle, right? And like
Mm-hmm.
literally, like if you look at my crates, it's like top 16, and there's like 16 like sub crates right after the top 16 because each round's gonna have something, right?
Right.
And I remember I played with another DJ and they were like, yo, do you know the Wi-Fi? And I was like, y- sure. Why? And they're
Oh,
just
don't.
building their crates like right there. And I'm just
Oh
like, hey,
no. The do's and don'ts, right?
you know what I mean? It's
Oh
just
man.
and everybody has their own thing. For me, it's like I help the event much better if they don't have to worry about like, hey, do you have this? Do you have that? Right? Like, cause you know, and Rita, you can attest to that, right? Like as a judge, you don't want to have to go to a DJ and be like, "Yo, do you have my song?" And then they're like, "Oh yeah, I didn't download it." You
Right.
know, it's hmm. You know, because it slows down a lot of things. It slows down the progress of the event. You know, like, and then they also like it doesn't become too smooth sometimes because you may download a version of the track that I didn't want to dance to. You know what I mean? As a judge, you know, like how many times do you hear someone's like, "Hey, I want you to play um, Bounce It Ounce," right? And they're like, "Okay, cool," but then there's like 16 different versions of that song,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and they didn't tell you like, "Oh, it's not by the original, it's by this guy." It's like,
Right.
"Oh, great. Well, why didn't you tell me this before, man?" You know, or like,
Mm-hmm.
why
Mm-hmm.
why wasn't that communicated, right? So,
Agreed.
yeah.
Yeah, and I think also like it's important like if it's a showcase
Hmm.
during the battle or like dance event, then like I would prefer like they send me music before because like sometimes if it's like ripped from YouTube, I will do my best to find this version and not ripped and yeah, because it will not like sound good
Mm-hmm.
if it's ripped and mixed. So I think like it's also yeah good to be ready and listen like before
Mm.
everything.
Yeah, if we have more time at the end of this, I would like to share like how I build my crates and stuff because I heavily prepare and I think it's like overkill. But at the end of it all, if we have time, like I want to show you guys how I prepare my crates, just as like a
Yeah, for sure.
maybe somebody might learn something or get something out of it, whatever take away from our our preparations before an event. So yeah.
Yeah, sounds good.
Super dope.
Um, what challenges did you face in your DJ career? Or did you face any challenges?
Uh,
Maze, you want to go?
um, yeah, yeah. I mean, I think in hindsight, right? Like I've only really been doing this for about what, like 3 years and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I think like like one of the bigger challenges that I've had, right, was you know buying all this equipment is expensive, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
no DJ tells you like, hey, I got all this stuff for free, right? And if they did, they're probably replacing it, and it's expensive to replace a lot of this stuff.
What's that behind you? Is that a rain? What is that? A Pioneer?
That's a Ref 7.
Oh, dude, that's
Yeah,
already like almost what is that?
two
Three?
grand,
Yeah, 2-3 grand.
2 grand. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Not
So
cheap, guys.
2 grand. So and like I remember someone joked, it was like, "Oh man, like you must have spent a pretty penny on this whole setup, right?" It's like yeah, like a little under 6K. Um, and they're like, "Oh," and I was like, "No, no, no, let's keep joking, right?" But for me, it's like the biggest challenge I've ever had was like just not being paid on time, right?
Mm.
Um, I remember like one of my very first gigs, um, like this guy was like, "Yeah, I'll pay you and everything," and I was like, "Yo, like I'm
Was it the
starting to hear
homie?
some."
Was it a homie like event?
No,
Okay,
no,
so it's actually like they
and that,
reached out.
yeah, well, like I knew him because like he kind of introduced himself to me and everything. He was like, "Yo, like I'm having this event." I was like, "Cool. Do you need a DJ? Like I can DJ for you. This is my rate." He was like, "Yeah, for sure, we'll do it." Right, and he paid me at the venue, which was I was cool with it, right? And then, long story short, he tried to get really finicky about like the money,
Oh,
um, to a point where it's like I literally like I'm savage, right? And I'll be the first person to tell you I'm a savage, right? Um, he asked for the envelope, and I was like, okay, maybe he's gonna give me a tip. I don't know, whatever, right? And at the end of the event, like literally at the end of the event, I'm just spinning for the ciphers at this point. He comes up to me, he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna pay you on Monday,"
oh my God.
and I'm just like, what? And I turned down the music, and I'm like, "What do you mean you're gonna pay me on Monday?" And everyone's just looking, and he's like,
That's
It's like, "Yeah, what
hard.
happened to the envelope?" Yeah, because for me, it's like, dude, like I just did your whole event. I had to kind of deal with like your lack of communication, and then you're gonna tell me after you gave me an envelope that you're gonna pay me on Monday.
That's
I was like,
harsh.
"Nah, you're gonna pay me right now." So um, I just don't like chasing people for money, right? Like,
Yeah.
and I feel like a lot of times what happens is, and sometimes the homie hits you up. It's like, "Hey, I know you're DJ. I'm having this event." It's like, bro, don't make me chase you for money.
Right.
It's just it just doesn't sit well with me. Like
Yeah.
I'm happy to separate like friendship with the business, but at the same time, it's like don't make me look at you like some
Yeah.
kind of way
And it's,
because
if I can interject, that's particularly difficult, right? And Rita posts that in her like part two, I think, of like,
hmm
you know, tips on when you're DJing is like she put up, what was it? The payment, right? Get your payment locked in. And it sucks because us as DJs, we're treated like the afterthought at an event, like they would rather pay their judges and the invited dancers first before they even pay the DJs. And I've had that experience where it's like, okay, like because I'm a nice person and I know how events go, and if it's a community event or like even a little bit bigger than a community event, that it's like I can wait, like I work and it doesn't matter to me really much about the money. It's just, the principle of it all, right? It's like,
hmm
why do I see you paying that person before, and then you tell me I'll pay you next time? Like, I guess it's just, it always just depends on who you're dealing with and your relationship with that person. So that's always a difficult one for sure. Because if you're working with friends and stuff, you give them that leniency because you want to help the community grow, right? And that's
hmm
another thing. It's like we're putting ourselves out there. We're driving to like miles and miles. The music that we have, a lot of it they think that we just download or play off of Spotify or something. Like, dude, we have to pay for some of this exclusive music. Like Mad D just dropped his, like, Rock Swift put out that dope ass mixtape.
hmm
You pay for that stuff and it's not cheap, right? Like $10, $20, and that goes for like multiple types of albums that you're searching for. And so that builds up. So the library that we have, right? People don't realize like that costs a lot of money, like all those
hmm
albums, those songs, the nights that we spent looking for that song or that record that we took from the, you know, that we went out to go buy, at the record shop. And then, this one's $25. You know what I mean? And then you put out, and this is not released on digital, right? So we have to digitize it if we want to go that far. So
hmm
that's part of like, I agree with the difficulties for sure of like being paid on time because I've experienced it. But yeah, that was my little interjection. But you
No,
can continue, man.
and that's true, right? And it's like, you know, it's very obvious sometimes that like dance DJs like the rate that you get paid as a dance DJ is definitely not the same as what you would get paid like doing a wedding. You know what I mean? Like
Right, right.
um and I was telling that to a homie of mine and I was like, dude, like honestly, if I did as many weddings as I did dance events, I don't know if I would have to do dance events, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
like one wedding can pay rent
4
in
or 5
LA.
dance events, pretty much.
You know what I mean? So it's like,
Yeah.
so we take a cut, right? We take a cut for the community, because we want to see this strive.
Right.
So for me, it's that it. And again, just like you said, right? It's not necessarily always going to be about like, oh, I didn't get paid. It's not.
Yeah.
It's just the principle, right? Like I'm giving you a lot of me.
Yeah.
It's the
And
least.
dude, and the thing that sucks is that you just started, right? Because 3 years into DJing, that's like, you just started, right? And you're still getting your feet wet into like how people actually, pay out and all these things and how they work. And you're like, I can't believe that, that you had to deal with that already within your first 3 years. But it's good that you saw that first, right? In the beginning years of your DJing experience, because now you know how to move forward when somebody doesn't pay you, Like, we always try our best to act professional, but when they treat us like, like shit, sorry, then we have to, reciprocate that back, that same energy. But, kill them with kindness, I'd say.
What about you guys? What was your challenges?
Rita, go
Yeah,
ahead.
I agree with this totally about pain. I think that's very important, like to have your contracts, and very important to like see the event, because like if it's like small like underground event that like your friend just throw, and it's okay to be paid less. But yeah, also like when I was in China, like there was like events where I was like 400 poppers and I spin prelim like all day, and I was
Oh,
and then they
how many people
and
entered
it's
that
like
one in China? Because I know it's a
what's
lot.
that?
How many people entered
Yeah,
the
like
pre?
we 400 poppers,
That's so much
400
music.
pop
Oh my god.
pop prelim.
Right.
Yeah, and I was literally, they brought me like, and I was DJing like all day alone. And then, yeah, like I was like, I was not expecting that. And like I would charge even like more money for that. And it's not underground event. Like it was more like, of course, underground, but they had like government sponsors and stuff like that. And yeah, they brought like empty pop to judge, and so yeah, like, and
Right.
then I think like in that case, like DJ needs to have like contract,
Right.
how like with like really defined rules, because like yeah, it's like a lot of good stuff happens when you're DJ, but also like sometimes like people can be like use your kindness to their own advantage. And yeah, and also just like I think like, okay, why would the organizer fly judge but not DJ? Like I would honestly as a dancer I would be excited to come to hear new DJ, because like by DJing we also share our culture. Like I play also some music from Ukrainian producer, and like I'm sure like if like you guys come to Ukraine, like you would like just like play something totally different that we used to hear.
Is
And
Urkel
it's
from
also
Ukraine?
like changing. Huh?
Sorry, I forgot Urkel Beatmaker. Is he from Ukraine? I forget where he's from. He's like a popping.
No, I never.
You've heard that one, Alvin? He goes Urkel Beatmaker.
Urkel Beatmaker
You
in
know-
your face. Yeah.
Maybe he's from France. Maybe. Anyways, keep going. Sorry.
He sounds French.
From Ukraine, Cajun. Do you know Cajun?
Yes, I know Cajun.
So y'all got to
I have
put me
some
on
music.
game. I got to get that.
Yeah, he is yeah, some produce like beats. It's like hip hop beats, but also can be played for popping. And he's like a guy from my city. We actually like grown in the same like I don't know, crew. Yeah,
That's
it's
awesome.
kind of like crew. Yeah. So I was thinking like I don't know, as a dancer I would rather go to event where it's like good DJ and yeah, then like okay, there is like great judges, but if the music is not really good, then I mean event won't go well. And I think like a lot of organizers underestimate it. And just like the cultural part of it, like we
Right.
fly judges. Why? Because we want to like them to share like how is it like dance in their country, right? What they learn, like what was their background. And we had actually like talk with Latasha. She's a house dancer from she's now based in Arizona, and So when I came, like she fly me to Arizona, and she was like, yeah, because I wanted you to represent like your culture, your like style, and yeah, like I was really appreciated, like, and I think that organizer should think about this. Yeah,
Yeah, for
For
it's
sure.
sure.
it's good to have variety, and by have like different DJs, like dancers will dance differently,
Yeah.
and the different people will have opportunities, like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I think yeah, it's cool. And
Yeah.
also I think the challenge that I face, like it's mostly in the parties that, like especially if you DJ like some party not like specifically for the dancers, it can be still cool place, but how like people like just like music that they heard, and they think like, okay, like if you play the song I heard 300 times, you're a good DJ, and I'm like, okay, thank you. And yeah, like what, like, because if you think like about psychology, what people like react to, it's mostly the songs they know, and I feel like not so many people open to hear new music. Even
Mm.
dancers, like sometimes you put like some dope banger it just released, but people don't know,
Right.
and they won't be like, I don't know, they won't listen, and then in few months they would record video on this.
Right. And it's like
And
that's always the rule of the new music. It's not hot until like 2 weeks later. So yeah.
exactly, yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
yeah.
So I think like keeping kind of the balance is really important, and it's really challenging, because like as a DJ you want to, of course, like to DJ for the crowd, entertain the crowd, and make everyone like hype and stuff, but you also want to represent like yourself, and like, and also like I really don't understand like song request, and I hate song request, like, and
During
like
battles?
if we what's that?
At the
Like
parties, you mean? At like the
at
clubs?
parties or
Yeah.
during battles? Oh,
Oh my god, like my heart is like, I'm
It's
like,
like
don't
this,
stop,
right?
don't
They
stop.
they do this, they do this, they do that. They pull up the Spotify or the song and they go, "Please." And you're like, "Get out of here."
like
I
take
mean,
me.
Yeah.
to be honest, I'm more of the kinder, more nicer, I guess, in terms of DJing. When people come and ask me like requests, like if they're, I guess, if the request makes sense, like musically, like if it matches the vibe, then I go, okay, I'll throw that maybe in like 2 songs later, because you got to mix it in, right? But I do agree though, like song requests suck because like you have a planned like type of vibe, and you're kind of like on your own schedule in terms of like, which songs you have like, that you want to queue up because it's going to mix in very well. So I do agree, that it doesn't ruin, but like it throws you off you know, your game,
Oh,
like your DJ game.
yeah. Yeah, and the most like annoying thing that like also like kind of bars agree with that, and other DJs do that, and I think that like it's just people so used to, because like other DJs allow it, but if you think like you go to the dentist, you don't tell dentist like how you want your tooth to be repaired, or like if it's like showcase, would you come on the stage and say, and can you dance now, like something else?
Yeah.
No. Then like why, if you would go to performance, it's
Mhm.
like I feel like they announced like this DJ gonna spin, so you need to trust the DJ,
Yeah.
and be ready to listen, rather than like just bring your song, and yeah, no, for me like it's just like really horrible. I don't like it, and develop like several strategies to say, like I was like, yeah, 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 later, like
That's
and
good.
then
You you
later
you you're
never
you're
comes.
kind, and then you lie to him like, "Ah, play it. Don't worry. All right, see you later."
It's like, yeah, I will check.
So here's the thing. I've actually done that many times, but at the end of the night, they're like one of the peoples that stay until the very end, and they're like, "Hey, you never played my song, bro." I'm like, "Oh, I forgot." So I've had that experience too, where I like, oh yeah, that was my strategy. But sometimes I'm like, maybe, nah, I'm not gonna do it, So don't give him hope, you know.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
definitely
yeah.
happened to me at pool parties where this little girl comes up to me as I'm playing like some Afro beats. She's like, "Can you play Our Song by Taylor Swift?"
Oh my
And I'm like, I've
gosh.
never heard this song before. So I'm like literally putting it in like my AirPods as I'm spinning, and I'm listening to the song. And I'm like, yo, this is not passing the vibe check at all, like whatsoever. So I'm like, all right, maybe like her parents are gonna like take her away after a while and everything.
Oh my lord.
Last song, she comes up to me. She's like, "You never played our song." Here's a song. Here you go,
Oh
man.
my
It's just
god.
like whatever.
I know, dude. It's the
You
little
know,
girl. She's like, "You never played Taylor Swift," and
with
I'm
like
a
the
Swiftie.
cartoonish eyes, like the
I know that little Disney puckered eyes, like.
you know.
uh,
Yeah,
Pretty sure
anyways,
my
yeah,
computer is hurting.
oh, did I? Did
yeah,
I? You want me to say something on it or my experiences?
Yes.
yeah.
Um, what is it? The challenges did I face? Um, Man, it was a lot. Starting off, the good thing was, my brother was a great DJ, a great battle DJ, and when I first started to wanting to DJ like popping events, and mind you, I came from Homeland, right? And one of the things that taught me at Homeland, it taught me respect for the culture, right? When you get started, you want to learn the culture of DJing, the culture of hip hop, that you need to earn your stripes. You got to put in the work. And mind you, like I've already put in my work as a kid, like with my brother and stuff. Like I was always there, getting the crates, going to. I used to walk to VIP Records. That's like the world famous VIP Records in Long Beach, and I used to walk from my house, go take the bus down to VIP Records, and then I used to go, look, can I get the new Notorious B.I.G. Instrumentals? I need two of them. My brother wants it. Here you go, money. Do that. Go back home. Hide it so nobody like jacks me, or steals from me on the bus. And I felt like that was like putting in my dues too, But the what I'm getting at is like the challenges were like, wanting to start off. And I think that's a great segue to what we wanted to talk about, which was how do you advocate for yourself as a starting DJ, right? One thing is like we didn't have social media back then, right? In the early 2000s, we sort of had social media, but like the way you had to put yourself out there was just like word of mouth, or just like doing smaller like house parties, or and doing it for free, mind you, right? Like a lot of the gigs that I've done were for free, and I still sometimes DJ for free, depending on the situation and the who it's for. um and that was how I got started, which was like, hey, I'll DJ your event for free, a popping event in LA, or can I do more? And I didn't have like actual turntables at the time, and one thing I didn't want for myself was to look like a fake DJ, because I was born into it, I grew up with it, and so my brother at the time, I asked him for his like DJ set, right? Like the whole 1200s with the mixer. And he's like, nah, man, you got to earn it. So I bought this like the little Newmark DJ Pro controllers, like the little small one. And I actually gave that one to Butters. Like, so shout outs to Butters. He hit me up. He's like, hey, you got a controller? I was like, yeah, I gave it to him. Anyways, that was my beginnings, was DJing on this little controller that I bought for like $50, and I was spinning off of that, and I was my first speakers were like these speakers that I used that were my wife's, like, radio speakers, like the bookshelf speakers. Like they weren't even like real DJ speakers, but it was a small room, but it had bass and stuff, and so you had to make it work. And those were like my beginning struggles, which was like for sure putting myself out there. And the biggest, like the bigger events that I got to, that I wanted to DJ, like they were gatekeeping. It's like, no, you didn't earn your stripes yet. I don't feel like you earned your stripes yet, so you're not gonna DJ this, right? So I was always on the sidelines, like waiting, like, hey man, let me know when, and that hurts too, because it's like you put in so much time and effort, and you're like, okay, I guess I'm not gonna DJ this, like, and you look forward to it, as like when you started DJing, like when I started DJing, I was like, oh man, I can't wait because I collected all this dope music. I have a great library, I think, and I've been practicing my cuts, my scratches a little bit, I'm hoping, but there's people that are more experienced than you that are just like, obviously they're gonna get the gigs because they've been known for a long time, and so me just my first beginnings was, yeah, that was my main struggle, was having to put myself out there. And I think a lot of journeys that I've shared, that I've experienced, that I'm sure you guys have shared, that have same experience as well, right? Like beginning and then not knowing who to talk to, or to do an event, right? But yeah, that's I guess my advice for those that are like aspiring DJs, or wanting to get the gig. Sometimes it's not your turn, like in life, it's not your turn to DJ that event. You just got to keep putting in the work until you collect that portfolio, I guess, of events where you like spin hot shit, right? Like that you killed, and you be like, look, I DJ'd this, I DJ'd that, and what's up, like put me on your next event, right? So yeah, that's I would say my advice to aspiring DJs is just put yourself out there, keep putting in the work, keep spinning, keep collecting, stay active, don't lose your confidence, just believe in yourself, and it's all good. Sometimes you won't get the gig, sometimes you do, and you just got to keep yourself, try to keep your name in the conversation. That I would say, have others do the work for you too, right? Like others will speak good about your name when you do the work, right? So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, for me was like a very different, like how I started, because I had like already was kind of like in the community, and then I actually started kind of way too fast for my skill. Like I started, and then I met in Yalta Summer Jam. It's like big event in Crimea,
Uh-huh.
and I met this guy PJ Pigo. He's from Slovakia, and he's like very dope DJ. And yeah, and then like I was like coming to Slovakia, and I was like, hey, can I just like hang out like with you, see how you DJ? And he was like, yeah, organize party, you want to spin? And I'm literally spinning like 1 month, and I was like, what? Like, okay,
That's
I
tight though.
guess I'll go for it. And then I remember like 2 weeks I was like preparing, don't go out from my apartment for spinning 1 hour in this in his party. And I was like opening the party, and I remember I was so scared, and just like thought like I will never connect I will start with controller. I thought I never connect controller to anything, and
Right.
and I was literally like shaking, like going to party, but I was like so happy. And yeah, I learned like a lot from this experience. And yeah,
Yeah, you learn by
so I
trial by
think like
fire. Like they threw you into the fire, and you're like,
but
ah, all right.
exactly, I think like all my DJ journey was like going into fire, because like when I started to DJ in like big club in China, I start to learn turntables. And at that time, like I thought like it's okay, I already played events in the bars and some parties, but in turntables it's totally different, it's much harder.
Yeah.
And I literally learned, and in one week my gig, now yeah, I like totally failed this gig. This club was like really big, and
Oh wow.
I failed second time as well. And then like I was like practicing like a motherfucker in the club. Like I came just like at 1 p.m. until 9 p.m. just to practice beat matching and like everything, just
Especially
like
with records,
to,
yeah.
yeah, to be able to play.
Yeah, because on the
Yeah.
vinyls, you
The-
have to always keep in mind of the equipment. Where on controllers, you could just let it spin and it'll never stop, right? But on the, on vinyls or on the turntables, you got to check the needle, make sure there's no dust. You got to pitch like
yeah.
right there. You got to make sure the tone arm is good, and there's a lot that goes on with like having to make sure that each side is good. You consistently have to check in with the equipment. So I do know your pain, and I'm sure other DJs know as
Yeah.
well, right?
Yeah.
And especially like playing in the club, like they wanted to make me like really fast switch. Like it was hip hop club, but the switch like 10, no, not 10, like 60 seconds or like
Oh
one
my
minute and a
gosh, that's
half.
so fast.
That's so fast. And also like we played four DJs. So every DJ has 1 hour and a half set. And we need to send before our gig, like our playlist, so we don't repeat the music because it was hip hop club. And it was like many things going on. It was some girl dancing and money flying to my turntable and into the needle, and like it was money rain, and yeah, no, it was
Oh
like
my
really crazy.
god.
And the sound
Crazy.
system was really big, like, and every mistake you make, like, people can hear. And yeah, like it was very challenging. I think after a few gigs, like I was crying, and then like I just like come to practice again and again. But like it was really fast. I learned turntable very fast because of this.
That's good.
Yes.
So
That's
good, yeah.
good.
Yeah. Oh, I
You,
guess like for the young DJs, like I would recommend just to try and throw. Sometimes it's good to throw yourself in the fire, even if you are not ready. You will be ready like by making mistakes, and it's fine.
yeah.
Yeah, I think for me it's a little different. Cause so I remember I moved to Arizona during the pandemic, right? And I'm just like, okay, like everyone, like literally when the pandemic hits, and I remember going to an event. They were still having events, right? Like people wearing masks, all that stuff, yada yada
Mm-hmm.
yada. And I remember, like being at an event, and then this DJ played the same song 3 different times, and I was just like, yeah, I don't think that's supposed to happen.
Wow.
Like did you did you like run out of music, whatever? And then I remember they would be having events, right? And some of the DJs would just play like really, really, really old music, right? And you could just see from the faces of some of the dancers, they were just kind of checked out, right? Because they're like, oh, great, I gotta dance to Apache again, like, um,
Dun, dun,
and
dun, dun. Jump on it. Jump on
you
it.
know what I mean? And nothing wrong with Apache. There's everything wrong with it when that's all you hear, right?
As soon as
So
you hear those
I
toms.
remember I was hanging out with the homie Smurf and
Go
his
to
brother,
listen.
and his brother was getting into DJing, especially for like house music and everything. And uh, I was working at an electronics store, and uh, Smurf was like, "Yo, like, I want to get my little brother like a new controller. Can you help me with that?" I was like, "For sure, right?" So like I helped him get this new controller and everything. And I was like, "Well, hey, what are you gonna do with this one?" It was like this little super, 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 super small, like I like literally probably like this small, right? This super small controller. I'm like, "Hey, like, what are you gonna do with this one?" And he's like, "Oh, well, I'm not gonna use it anymore." I was like, "Hey, like, why don't you just like let me get it off of you? Like, how much you want for it?" He just gave it to me for free. So I was just like, "Okay, cool." So I'm like learning, and like I'm like literally like drilling like 4 hours a day, just like on this small little controller that's like literally like the size of like my two hands like put together, right? Even now to this day, like I have that controller hanging on my wall. It's like this was the first one I ever did it on, right? And I remember going to my wife and I was like, "Yo, like I think I want to get into DJing." And then she was like, "Okay, whatever," right? It's like the easiest yes I've ever had in my life. It's like it's easiest, like, yeah, just go and get it, whatever, right? So I bought like my first like controller. It was like a SR2, right? Pioneer SR2, and like downloaded it. Like I got a new MacBook, all that stuff. I was ready. I was going, right? And I was like, like I feel like I'm not gonna get good at DJing unless I force myself to get good at it in a small amount of time, right? So I was like, yo, I'm just gonna throw an event and I'm gonna DJ the event and host at the same time, right? And I'm gonna give myself 4 months to get it done. So I announced the event. It was Hot Zone, the first one, and I was like, I'm gonna DJ Hot Zone. I'm gonna be like the best DJ, whatever, whatever. And I'm like literally like training my DJing, like beat matching, key matching,
Mm-hmm.
like BPMs, all that. And I'm like literally crash coursing myself, asking questions, and it was just like I remember I got like my first opportunity. I went to Florida, um, and a homie of mine was like, "Yo, I'm doing this event. Like, why don't you like spin with me?" So I spun. I brought my controller, and like I spun that event with him, and we was just like kind of going back and forth. So I was learning how to go back and forth during this event, and everything. And um, Hot Zone happens, and I'm DJing. My homie's there, and then Smurf's brother's there as well. Like we're all DJing together,
Mm-hmm.
and I definitely messed up a few times, right? But the feedback that I got, not just from other dancers, but from other DJs in the community, they were like, "Yo, you should just keep doing this, man. Like, it's super dope that like, how long you been DJing?" And I would just be like, like I've been DJing for a while, right? Because I didn't want them to be like,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, you're like super young, whatever," right? But I was just like, I just been doing it for a while. It's like, yeah, man, it really shows. Like, yeah, like this really dope ear for music. Like, you know how to like kind of like cater to so many different dance styles and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't until like I think this year I told people like I learned how to DJ in like 4 months for my first big event,
Mm-hmm.
and people were just kind of like, "You're insane," right? Um, and like for me, I guess like my biggest advice for like, and it's weird to say like for younger DJs because I still feel like I'm a younger DJ, right? But like I think my two biggest advice for younger DJs is find yourself a community of DJs that you can ask questions to. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like who are ones to just kind of like spit game at you, right? Be like, yo, like you should look into doing this, right? Like, hey, don't download music from YouTube. It sounds really bad, right? Or just be like, hey, make sure that you analyze all your music before the event, or else, right?
Right.
Um, and then my second advice would be like bet on yourself, right? Like if you're willing to bet on yourself, you're definitely gonna like light something from under
Mm-hmm.
you and be like, yo, like I'm going to get good at this. I'm going to
Right.
absolutely enjoy this journey, right?
Yeah.
Um, and like I'm not gonna quit just because shit gets hard, right? It's
Right.
like,
Right.
hey, I want this. Like I want to really live this lifestyle, right? And
Mm-hmm.
this culture, right? So bet on yourself and definitely ask questions, right? Like don't be too prideful to ask questions. Um, and with that, right? Like I want to definitely give a big shout out to Panic, like DJ Panic, um, our scene, um, DJ For Real, Rock Swift.
Yo, for real,
Um,
rocks. Yep.
like I definitely asked them a lot of like I asked for real for like, hey, what would be the best like beginner controller? He should send me like 10 of them. He's like,
Mm-hmm.
choose. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
here, yes, right.
Mm-hmm.
And they never were like, yo, like when you get to that point, like make sure you mention my name, right? They were just
Mm-hmm.
always like, yo, like if you win, I win, and when you're eating, we're all eating, right?
Yeah.
So definitely find that community of DJs that you can ask questions for and always bet on yourself.
Mm. Good advice.
Yeah. I would add also about like stay curious and just like learn by observing.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you want like to start, just come to your friend like and observe him, her like when they spin event
Mm-hmm.
and like what they're doing. And yeah, I think like and just I think observation when you come to event, just like active listening as a
Yeah.
DJ, not as a dancer or not just like as you would hang out,
Right.
but like what is happening in the room. Like, okay, when the DJ put this song, like something is happening. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I remember when I was in China also before like starting to play in the club. In this club, I went 1 week and just hang out and observe like what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, like when they put like female vocals, girls start, for instance, to go on the stage, and they bring their guys who does not want to go on the stage. And yeah, like I was like, okay, that's interesting. Let me try that. And how like to play with the BPMs. Like, okay, the DJ switch BPM, it's like kind of like, oh, attention, it's me. Like
Yeah.
now, like I start right to when the DJ switch. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
yeah. So or like some songs like have like epic intros and you don't need to mix them because like it's a cool intro. It's like
Yeah. It has a good lead
very
in. Yeah.
high energy. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think like a lot just like by observing what is happening.
Like
Yeah.
a good song, I would say, like for the club that you like what you're talking about, like the intro is the "Lean Back," right, by Fat Joe, I think. It's got that and everybody knows it, and you're like, oh, it's about to go down, right? So, but to add to
Yeah.
that, to the same, topic of observation, like I think for aspiring DJs, if you want to get started, go to a club, go to an event, watch how the DJ mixes, what songs they're playing. Don't necessarily copy them, right? You want to take notes of like, oh, this song, the wordplay on this song and this song match. It's in, and the feel is the same. It's like you want to go and study the art of DJing in the sense like how they mix it, and also paying attention to the time of the night as well, right? Or the time of the event. Like if it's like prelims time, you want to get everybody warmed up, right? And then when it gets to the battles, right, that's when you drop the harder stuff, right? The higher energy, or not necessarily higher energy, but the songs that will definitely go, oh, I can't believe, he dropped that track or she dropped that track already. It's like, oh, it's about to go down then, right? So it gets, that's the message of us as the DJ, right? It's like, I came here to bring the energy with the music, and this is how it's going to go down. It's like, and then you get the people engaged, the dancers engaged. You're like, oh, I can't wait to hear what they drop next, right? So that's awesome. But yeah, for the aspiring DJs to add is, do your homework, do some observation, go to a club, go to an event, whatever it is. Look up the great DJs out there that are already experienced, and listen to how they mix, listen to what songs and whatnot. But yeah, cool.
Yeah, and I think like also the good one, as Alvin was saying, Jay, yeah, to create opportunities for yourself. Like you organize hot zone, you create opportunity for yourself. So we don't need to wait like
Right.
until someone will invite. Maybe we like you are in the circle already and like DJ some session, like DJ at home with your friends.
Right.
Go to the local bar, like create
Yeah.
something like for
Yeah,
yourself.
because
We
all
can
you have
also
is
like
yourself,
do,
right? And some people, like,
yeah.
besides the noise of social media today, like, just if you could, as a person, just block out all the negativity, right? All the hate, or the eyes that are on you as an individual or an artist or a DJ, right? Like, you want to put that aside so you can continue to advocate for yourself, right? There's no shame in putting your name out there yourself, or like wanting to start something. And you said it, Rita, where you're just like, just start it, doing it yourself. And Alvin or Maze did that, right? With like, you know what, I love this, art form so much that I'm gonna do my own event, and it's gonna be free or whatever it is, and I'm just gonna invite you. I'm gonna play tunes, y'all have some fun, come and have some fun. I mean, because in the end, that's what it's all about, right? The community aspect of it too. So yeah.
No, for sure.
Yeah, good one. And talking about challenges that DJ face, we were recently like talking with Mace about that it's like less releases. Seems like it's less fresh releases in popping music than, for instance, in house or hip hop or like other styles. Because yeah, I don't know, like I DJ like mostly like popping. Like if I would DJ in the battle, mostly it's like popping, house, and hip hop.
Mm-hmm.
And like I see like house drops like every day, like, and I don't have even time to listen them all. And
Mm-hmm.
but not with the popping, I feel like it's like not that many.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What do you think, or is it relevant to you?
Maze, I want to hear what you got to say.
Yeah, I mean, most of the battles that I'll DJ are actually like popping music, right? And what a lot of people don't know, right? Like and I said that with like Hot Zone being like not only one of the first event that I DJ, but also it's an event that I do yearly, right? And we went away from doing an open style battle to now having a one-on-one popping and a one-on-one hip hop, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I take care of the popping music while a homie of mine takes care of the hip hop music. And it's funny because like we'll have these conversations and like he's like, "Yo, I just downloaded like 100 different new hip hop tracks."
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I'm like, "Yeah, cool, cool." And he's like, "Yeah, so how you doing on the popping tracks?" It's like, I found three. You know what I mean? Like, uh, but next month is a new month. Maybe I'll get my whole top eight, right?
Yeah.
Um, and then what ends up happening is like, because the way that we do it with Hot Zone is like we don't play anything that's been done before 2010,
Uh-huh.
right? So it's like you're not gonna hear like Zap Rogers, not gonna hear Gap Band, nothing like that, right? And
Mm-hmm.
the reason why we do that is because we want to cater to the younger generation, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, the younger generation of poppers, they're not necessarily always listening to, you know,
Mm-hmm.
those types of songs, right? They want to hear their Shaw Shoes. They want to hear K Tronada. They want to hear Tin Mans. They want to hear Mad D. They want to hear, all these other DJs and producers, right? Because like that's kind of like where the state of affairs is, right? So for me, it's like, oh man, this is hard because now I kind of not only have to stray away from just playing just like regular popping beats, right? But I also have to get creative and like try to find different tracks that
Right.
kind of has that emulation of, I can see this in a popping event, right? Or like this
Mm-hmm.
will challenge a popper without them feeling like, this is not popping music, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then they're looking at me like, what's going on, right? And we've done a good job at that, but it's definitely been kind of hurting because like I'll literally hit up popping producers and I'll be like, yo, I don't know if you worked on anything, man, but how much do I need to pay you so that you can give me like three songs?
Oh
You know what
man.
I mean? Like
Yeah.
name your price. Like I'll literally be like, yo, I will pay.
Mm-hmm.
What you need me to do? I'll pay, right? And they're like, "Yeah, I'm working on something," and something doesn't come out, and I'm like, "Man, this sucks."
Right.
You know?
I mean, looking and hearing it as a dancer and as a DJ and and the producer at the same time, like I'm having a conflicting like emotions because like I know where you stand and me as the artist that is producing the music as well, I'm like like kicking myself in the head because it's like I want to push out more music, right? But at the same time it's like some like a lot of the popping producers that I've met, they're like we're like perfectionists in that sense where like we don't want to put out shit, like shit popping beats. Like I can do like a basic boom clap song any day, and then just throw like a basic bass line and whatnot. But the level of competition now, in terms of music quality for popping, which is great because like the sound in popping music now is way better than ever, right? Like when we first started, I think the two people that really come to mind is Legend, the Beat Slayer, and Slick Dog. Their music, like at the beginning of like how like that was like the first popping music, right? Like considered popping music. Then that's when I was like, you know what? I need to release my stuff too, right? And the quality and the competition with each other is like, yo, I'm gonna drop this banging track too, like I can produce like that. So I definitely feel that there's a what do you call that, a when something's dry, like in the desert, what do they call it? A
Drought.
deficit, yeah, drought in music, right? In terms of popping music. But I think a lot of it too has come down to life in general. A lot of the people that I know of, like who is it? Uh, he's from France. Name starts with a B. Ah,
Benny.
not Benny. Um, anyways, it'll come to mind later. But anyways, like a lot of it, I know that I've taken a break, from the scene. And I went into like my gaming stuff. But yeah, I definitely agree that there was a drought of like popping music and you search for months, but then you find people that are like actually new artists that are producing somewhat similar to popping music, like Maxwell and uh like B Bravo or something like that. You know, those guys or Tico. You know, they're dropping dope ass music, and they don't even consider it popping music. They just I want hard hitting music. You know, like
Mhm.
but agreed, and I feel like now we have like people like Madi and Maxwell. That's not even considering himself as a popping producer or anything like that. But Shashu as well have been pushing the envelope and the quality of popping music right to the scene. And I feel like with those producers out there as well, like like Shashu and stuff, and Legend that keep pushing the envelope, it makes me like as a producer myself, it makes me look at the music that I've made and go, shit, it doesn't I feel like my quality is not up to par, right? So it's like a competition. It's like, okay, what can I do to make my sound uh current, like sound current, like my music sound current in today's scene, in the popping scene or the dance community. So it's getting there for a lot of producers for sure. And so yeah, people like Benny B Rock just dropped his, Maddie dropped his. We keep bringing up those names because those are like the most current popping music right now, right? Actually, somebody who I missed that the music that they made, and every time they dropped a track, it was just straight fire. Can you guys guess?
Tin Man.
Shut up.
Timur?
JG from Korea.
Ah, he
Wait.
hasn't. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure he's still producing, but yeah, if JG, you're watching in the future, sometime you see this, please, make more music because your music is amazing. All right, Chingu. But yeah, that's my 2 cents on it.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
'Cause
actually, about like the popping music, if I want to find new popping music, I go to hip hop beat makers
Yeah.
because now I feel like it's on the age, and like I like Gonzi. I don't know if you heard, but like it's
he's
dancer
cool.
from France, and he also produce and like like in his album you can find like music that is like very close like to popping.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
so I would just play that.
Right.
That's one.
Yeah, I think for me, a really dope producer that I actually stumbled on a happenstance because I was looking for music. There's this guy named Gemini out of San Diego. I hope he's
Mm,
watching this at some point. But like, um, Gemini is spelled like jam, like
yeah.
jam, um, but like Gemini. But he had put out a remix to
Marvel.
uh, he did that recently.
Yeah.
But like the first time I heard him, he did a remix to the Rockwilder by
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Method Man
Right. Right.
and
Right.
Redman, and bro, that was a remix. Like I was like, yo, and then he did a remix to Hood Politics by Kendrick, right?
Right.
And I literally like I hit him up and I was like, I just want you to know I am gonna be doing a judge showcase in the next few days, and me just finding this track, I'm gonna be using this because it was funky, but it was hard hitting, it was gritty, but it had like every element that I was looking for new popping music. And I was like, man, thanks. And I was like, why don't more people know about you? And
Mm-hmm.
he's like, I'm just kind of like, I'm just kind of getting into it. But now I'm kind of seeing him kind of like, um, getting to know like some of those producers that we was talking about, like Matt D, B Rock. Um, I think he was talking to B Rock when the first time I met B Rock, and I guess they were like thinking of doing like a joint project together, which I'm excited to hear that if that does happen. But like it's just like stuff like that, right? Like you kind of have to be creative, and like that was one of those situations where it's like I'm listening to this guy's track, and he literally will remix a song, but like it's danceable for not just hip hop, but also for popping and also like house. So I'm just like, I do hope he gets more buzz. So definitely shout out to Gemini
Mm-hmm.
from
I
San
just
Diego.
recently followed him too because of you.
Yeah, man. We used a lot of his songs for the promotion for Hot Zone, and every time we dropped like a judge, we used one of his songs, and every time we dropped it, like someone was like, "Yo, who is this guy?" who is this guy? Who is this guy? And I'm like, bro, no
Mm-hmm.
one knows. That's crazy, right?
Yeah.
Because usually, like, you'll hear something like that, you're like, damn, there's at least 1,000, 2,000 plus people who know about this,
Right.
right? Not one person, right? So I really do hope he gets his flowers for sure.
Well, hopefully we
I
can,
never heard actually about him, so I will start to follow him.
right, right. We'll put up the SoundCloud in the YouTube description when we get done with this. So
Oh, yeah.
I'll take note of
Yeah.
that. Gemini.
Gemini.
Yeah.
And we'll link
Also,
all the
I
other
want to
artists too. Yeah, go ahead.
One other producer, DJ Combat.
Oh yeah,
is,
DJ
from
Combat.
Sweden.
He's sick.
Yeah. So he's like, I met him in Sweden, and yeah, he's. I think like his music is dope.
Yeah. DJ
Yeah.
Combat. I love it.
From the Kings.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. And with that being said, like, what are like your favorite like artists and producers? It can be popping or like any other producers that are influence your journey a lot.
Go ahead.
I'm
Mace.
gonna speak on the fact that I'm from Montreal, Canada originally, right?
Oh really?
Yeah. So, but
Could you
my
speak a little bit louder, Maze? There you
Yeah,
go.
yeah,
Perfect.
so-
There you go.
my family's from Haiti originally, but I was born and raised in Montreal, Canada. So I'm a little biased when I say this. But my two favorite producers and DJs is Shashu, right? Because funny enough, we were born in the same hospital, but don't ask me how I know that, right?
You got the records.
You know, I just look at the bios, and then K Trinata, right?
Oh,
Because K Trinata is also from Montreal, and he was also born in Haiti as well.
Catradamus, man. Before he was Catronata, man.
Yeah, he's still K Tradamus to us.
I know.
But
us.
yeah, those are my two. Every time these two drop something, I'm like, yeah, I gotta listen to it like first hour before like anybody says anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm weird, right? Because like I usually listen to music like a month after it gets released because I just don't like to kind of hear the hype
Oh
from
yeah,
people.
I'm the same way.
But when it comes to them two, it's like I'm like waiting till midnight, and then like midnight hits, and
You're
I
like-
see Bandcamp say,
You're,
"Josh, you just
you're
dropped
like,
something."
F this.
You know? You're like, Kitchen, I just dropped something on Spotify. I'm like, yes, yes,
Dude.
yes, right.
Yeah,
So-
I agree. He's definitely. I mean, I'm not. I'll let you continue before I even interject or add my 2 cents.
Oh no, you're good, man. If you hear some background noise,
I can't hear anything.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
I have a little one just running around right now.
it's all good. I see the ball pit.
Oh yeah, I forgot to put that one away. Oh no.
No, it's all good. Man, no, I agree. In terms of popping music, Shashu just released that freaking banger of a mixtape. Oh my God, the opening track, like with the Corrupt or the East Siders, Snoop and Corrupt. Oh my God. Anyways, yeah, Shashu's definitely one of my favorite producers for sure. In the popping realm and also just hip hop, right? Because he understands the energy, the feeling, the how to set the tone, and he doesn't just do a basic boom clap either. Like his music is intricate, like he writes for it, right? Like you can tell that he's trying to tell a story with his music. Whereas like there are some just popping, there's just beats, right? Like but Shashu's beats are more than just beats, right? Like they're more developed. They have more, how can I say, more oomph to them. So yeah, him. And like I said, I missed JG. He was one of my favorites. When he dropped the track, he just, it's something special that those guys have that like I can never match, right? Like I can't, like that's what the respect I have for them, because they have stuff that like I go, God, man, like I wish I can produce like that in that sense. Like why couldn't I have thought of that type of chord for the music? Like it's in terms of like as an artist, I go, dang, I wish I could capture that same energy, and so it then becomes again where I say again, it's like a competition, right? Like you want to, who can make the crazier, hardest track, like the goal when I'm producing too, like depending on how I feel, it's like I always try to produce music that you hear in like the semis or the final battle, like because if I'm gonna do music, like yeah, I can do practice music, right? Like, but the music that I want to make is always like, okay, when I drop a track, exactly what you said, it's like that. Damn, this song is so good. You're gonna hear it automatically the next week at the next event, at the finals, or the semifinals, or and it's just like that. And JG and Shashu were definitely there, and also Legend too. But my
Yeah.
other favorite DJs now, like that, just have been like cooking it up, like the Count. Um, the Count is freaking amazing. Who is it? Maxwell from Australia, I believe. The homie Maxwell. And also, oh gosh, Leotis, man. That guy
Oh
has some
yeah.
shit that like you said, like you reach out to me like, man, when you gonna release that track? And he'd be like, I'll release it someday, and it never comes out, right? And you're forced to listen to like the audio from like a YouTube clip or Instagram clip or something like that, right? Anyways, yeah, those
Man.
are definitely my favorite producers right now. And we brought up his name many times already, Mad D. He's just doing something special with like the retro sound of like
Yeah.
game 8-bit sounds and just like molding it to a way that's just like sounds so refreshing. But yeah, those are some of my favorites right now. What about you?
And I'm not gonna let you slander yourself like this, right? So I'm just gonna go ahead and say this, right? Um, the Ultra Instinct track that you have,
Uh-huh.
the battle games exclusive that you
Yeah.
have, yeah, you're definitely in that conversation, man. Like and I know you're like me, right? Like when someone just like blows your spot, it's like, yo, man, you're that guy, right? You're like, all right,
Yeah.
okay,
No,
next person, right?
I have,
But
but see, I appreciate, I thank you, but I mean, I don't mean to cut you off, but like I have people to thank for those ideas, right? Like Slim Boogie was ultimately responsible for, inspiring me to make those tracks, right? Like he's like, do you know it'd be dope if you like did this and you like chop that up, and so he gets like pretty much all the credit for the idea, and especially for battle games, right? Because you were there at when they were doing the lot, right? And they had those battles, and they had the battle games, and then battle games to me when I'm thinking about it, and when the idea that I had behind that track was that it was like the Hunger Games, right? Because they took off like Hunger Games, the little cardinal bird, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna sample the Hunger Games dialogue, and she's gonna be like, and let the games begin or something like that, right? And that's how the track started. But anyways, thank you, I appreciate that. And that's the main goal, is just to always be trying to strive to reach that greatness and be in that conversation.
for sure, bro.
Yeah. To add to what May said, yeah, I also think like from my perspective, my favorite pop-in producer, it would be actually you.
Oh
And
my
not
god.
Shash.
You guys, let's just cut and just go move on. I appreciate
I
it.
mean, Shashi is great, but I think like what I appreciate in your music, that you kind of like, it's hard, but it has like some also soft element to it,
Right.
and yeah,
I know what
that
you
it
mean.
combines. Yeah, I don't know how to exactly express it, but yeah, I feel like
It's
it combines like both energies together.
right.
So I really appreciate that part.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
I do know what you
actually
mean.
how.
Yeah, it's part of my classical training, in terms of how I make music. Like, piano is my favorite, and it will always ever be. Like, just if I could have piano and some drums, that'd be the best thing, right? And the softness comes from the chords that I play and the music, and not really pushing it to be so harsh sounding. Like, like just be upfront, right? It's the piano that is the main star of, like, I would say, the tracks, right? But I know what you mean. So I appreciate that you see that, because that's what I'm going for as well. And some of them, you want to dance hard, but you want to practice as well, right? Like, I don't know, move soft
Yeah.
and smooth, but yet hit hard, something like that, I guess.
Yeah.
It's cool that you think that way.
Yeah. I appreciate that. And about the artist that inspired me, I think, except of Tin Man, is also J Dilla. I
Oh
think
yeah.
like J Dilla was like always big influence. And last year I got a gift, J Dilla book time,
Oh.
and this like changed my mind. Like, it's crazy. It's a book about how he made music and how he like just changed the whole industry, and it explains a lot like about like his songs, and how I listen to his music is like totally different. It's this book,
Nice.
Tequila Time.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
have to get that copy.
like I
Oh, I
could
love
not
the
stop.
MPC. Look at that. Yes,
Yeah,
Just out.
that's dope.
yeah, I really advise you because like it's crazy. Like we were talking, yeah, with the Damon Frost about this book a lot because like Damon, he's also produced the music, and he was like, yeah, I was wondering like. What else can they tell me about Jay Dilla, you know? Like, but this book is crazy. It's really, really cool one. So yeah, I would say Jay Dilla. And about DJs, I think from Europe, Leroy Ray. He's a house DJ. He was DJing Summer Dance Forever. Almost all the years, I think, in house category in hip hop. And what I like, because he's like also a big nerd of music, and I met him when I was like in Finland. We were DJing at the same event, and we took a train together. And like with this trip, I learned like so much, because like he is like so nerdy about like sampling, about like history, about literally everything that about music, and
Wow.
constantly reflect like what he's DJing. Like, because like Sundance Forever, it's very challenging to DJ, especially hip hop category.
Wow.
And I think in general, hip hop category, it's very challenging to DJ because it's like, I think no
So many
one really
generations.
understands. Yeah, exactly. It's like different generation and different people, different thing, like thought. What is it?
Yeah,
Hip hop
like
music.
what is hip hop music? Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So yeah, shout out to Leroy Ray and Tin Man and Jay Dilla.
I appreciate it.
10 man, 10 man, 10 man.
God. You guys are crazy. I
Right.
appreciate it.
Okay. And question for Tin Man: how do you think producing and making and DJing complements each other?
You know, I'll say the question again.
How producing complements DJing? Producing
Oh
music
yeah, I mean,
complements.
for me, it's always been like that was kind of like my weapon of attack, right? In terms of how I advocate for myself as a DJ, because they know that when they book me, right, as a DJ, that they're gonna get my exclusive unreleased tracks being played at their events, right? And then that's how I utilize that as well. And also, you know, I use that as a way to like gauge how the tracks that I haven't released yet, and I play them in the cypher and stuff, like how they're gonna react, right? So I use it as a tool to like say, okay, if they're reacting like this, you know, then I would check off like, oh, okay, this song works, right? Or if this song doesn't work, like, I don't think it. I'll put it in the back burner, maybe release it on a mixtape or something. But I feel like it pushes me as an artist, you know, to continue to strive for better quality, better rhythms, you know, better more intricate rhythms as well, you know, like because there are songs that I, you know, like when we talk about dance, everybody is loving to like wanting to listen to a song like 100 times, like a beat kill, or you know, or music have the musicality, and they do that, you know. And I feel like with dancing now, that's all you see is like, oh, he's just, you know, he's just gonna do the beat kill, you know, like that's all they go for. It's like they don't even want to dance anymore. They just can't wait until they get like a, you know, a Shashu track, or like a, you know, Aaron Evo, you know, track where they're gonna beat kill, and that's all they do. It's like, no, man, like dance to the music sometimes. I want to see your foundation, you know. I want to see how you move to the music and not just trying to, you know, you know, like I feel like the production and DJing, you know, it's a relationship that I think now is more accepted and utilized in today's, you know, because now, you know, with social media, it being all about you, right? That's how they make it, right? And I feel like us as artists, we don't get paid, you know. We barely get paid anything in royalties or anything like that. And so for us to utilize that, we just have to be that everybody person, right? Like as an artist, like we have to do everything ourselves, right? It's like we don't get that help, you know. And so I feel like that's very underlooked, you know. So the relationship between like producing and DJing just goes hand in hand, because you know we have to do that because we have to make our money somehow. But it's not about the money, it's just more so of, you know, advocating for ourselves, putting ourselves out there, because nobody's going to play your music first, right? You have access to your music when you're producing. And so yeah, going back to it, like all in all, like I use it as a tool, to pretty much test out, the track, and also, use it to advocate for myself, that I go, okay, I have these collection of, exclusive tracks that I can say, hey, I have, like, me, I produce music and it's good music. And then, when I come to your event, these are the songs that I'll be dropping, that are hot right now. And then what I could do is, if you're an artist like me, if you produce music, you utilize it to make like an exclusive like mixtape for the event, and so then now you're offering more than just like DJing, right? You're offering a beat tape. And I think the first time I've seen that happen was at Bust Move, where Shashu put out his mixtape, where it was like not just popping, but it had like house. I forgot what it was, but it was at Bust Move 5, I think. And I bought that mixtape right then and there because it was fire. And so like I said, like, it just goes hand in hand. Anybody can start producing as well. So it doesn't just have to be about DJing, right? Like, I feel like you, Rita, you, Maze, have good ear for music. And if you picked up producing, you guys probably create something really cool and interesting and hard hitting, and, something that you can offer more than just DJing, so it goes beyond that, right? Like, you now have like I would say, like, I call it a gift, right? Like, I got something extra. Here's a gift, like, to your event. So now you're offering, more than just like the DJing. Now you have music, and then the event now has more to offer, like for the organizers, So DJs are really important, But yeah.
You said
So
something
really interesting. That was that?
Yeah, you said something that was really interesting, right? Because I remember the first time I saw Shashu, like he was DJing an event, was at Just a Boo, right? And it was in New York. And I remember thinking to myself, like, yo, I didn't even know he DJ'd, right? Like, because I knew Shashu as the producer.
Right.
I didn't even realize that he was like an actual DJ.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember one time, like, they were warming up, like they were still warming up. It was like super cold, like it literally like snowed in at this point, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I remember he was like, "Hey, if y'all don't mind, I'm just gonna go ahead and start messing around and start making a beat, like right then and there."
Oh my gosh.
And I'm just like, "What the fuck?" So he's just layering it, it's layering.
Mm-hmm.
And then after a while, he's like, "All right, I'm done. Oh wait, hold up, Shashu." And it's like, "Oh my god," you know what I mean? And I was like, "What the heck?" Right? So it's kind of cool because in that point, right? It's like, in hip hop history, right? Like, artists would have to bring their records to the DJs to play at clubs and play in the radio and everything. But you can't bypass all of that,
Mm-hmm.
being like the producer and the DJ, because you're like, yeah, my stuff is dope. I'm just gonna play it, and then you play it, and it was like, what the heck, Tim, man, when are you releasing this one? And you're like, yeah, that's not getting released, my guy.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to book me in
Yep,
to hear it.
exactly. Sometimes you
That's
gotta
dope.
hold that back. Like, you gotta, like, that's another key, right? I think that you guys agree with, is just that exclusive tracks that you have, and only a circle of people have it, access to it. So that's like your other, I keep saying weapon, but your other I would say offering to the event that you're going, like, looking to DJ. But you can be like, I got these exclusive tracks. If you want to hear them again, book me.
Yeah, I definitely want to get into producing.
You
I
should.
tried my hand at it, and like my head just hurt. So I was like,
It's all
yeah,
good.
it's
I teach you.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
Yeah.
But Rita, you had something that
Uh,
you wanted to say?
no, yeah, I was saying that, like, it's actually how also I did not know that you are DJing, Tin Man. Because, like, when I met you at the event in Vegas, I was like, what? Like, is it like this Tin Man, like, from Spotify? And I did not know that you are like DJing. So yeah, it's like a kind of the same. Because, like, I just like knew you as a producer.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's how we actually met. I just came to Tin Man. I was like, yeah, like, when's your like next album? And like, I'm
Word.
waiting,
I know. It's coming,
Yeah.
guys.
He
Yeah,
said it.
let's go.
You heard it here first, guys. You heard it here first.
I'm still on my challenge, okay? I'm still on my 30-day beat challenge. And there's a lot of great tracks in it, and I can't wait to release
that
it.
3-day beat challenge has been dope.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's been great.
Yeah.
The 30-day
and-
beat challenge is challenging me to not screen record you and re-looping the music and being like, oh, this is it. This is you, Tin Man, guys.
I know,
Yeah,
dude. I know. But yeah, moving on. We're almost. How long have
And
we been on
moving,
now? About like how long we've been
An
on?
hour
Oh,
and a
about
half.
an hour and 30 minutes. Oh, we got time.
yeah. I wanted also to talk about social media
Mm,
and how do you care about it? Is it like important? And yeah, what is like your purpose and just a goal with your DJing that you may be delivering through social media or other platforms or events?
Maze.
Yeah, I think so. Man, this relationship with social media is dicey, man. Because I I think we can all agree that social media now is just as important as radio was way back in the day, right? Or clubs were. Because like I like to call myself a pandemic DJ because I kind of got my start off of social media as well,
Mm-hmm.
right? Where it was like I went live and like people saw me and everything, and but that's because it's all DJs could do back then, right? It was like, you think about it, like during the pandemic, all these DJs lost their gigs from these clubs because they can't spin every night, right? Or like or every week, or like weddings had to be pushed back because now they had to do these weddings like via Zoom, which that sucks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so like I I know how important it is to do social media in this day and age. It's just there's just so much like stuff to kind of like maneuver through
Mm-hmm.
that unfortunately like for me like my mental health is always going to be a key factor for me, right? It's like if I don't feel good, I'm not getting on it, right?
Yep.
And I feel like sometimes social media can really just be like
Really toxic.
almost like yeah, toxic, right? And like it's almost like a flex sport now sometimes, right? Where
Mm.
like you'll see some DJs like be like, look what I just did. It's
Mm.
like, no, that's great for sure. But I also like this sense of moving in silence sometimes, right? Where it's
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna come out. Don't worry, I'll be there. But like you don't need to know each and every one of my moves through
Yeah.
social media, right?
Yeah.
Um, to that point, right? It's worked for a little bit, but I can also see where it's been damaging me, right? Where it's like I'm not going live every week and doing like a DJ set like on a Twitch or on YouTube or whatever. Or like I don't have all these followers on TikTok. I don't have followers on TikTok, by the way, so I don't have a TikTok. Um, I don't have like over like 100,000 like subscribers on my YouTube or 100,000 followers on my Instagram, right? But it's like I do know that one thing that I've been trying to be more intentional about is when I do have a gig, I'm vlogging it now, right? And I'm like just kind of like being stupid or funny. It's like, hey, I'm doing this vlog of like me going to the club and like I'm DJing this wedding, whatever. Like, oh man, I love doing this,
So
and like
much
I'll do
work.
like it's a lot of work. It did get me some gigs though, which is great, right?
Yeah,
Like,
because you have to
uh,
showcase what you do, and that's very,
yeah,
very important. You know.
it's a love hate for me for sure, right? I
Same.
understand the importance of it. But if I could be as successful as a DJ as I am without doing social media, I definitely would unplug for
Mhm.
sure.
Man.
You know?
I guess adding to that, I definitely will be doing in some unplugging next month because I just feel like this past couple of months I've just been, on my phone like back and forth and like I can't like not stop looking at it every other minute. It's just such a habit now that it's just like it's in my muscle memory to go, oh, I need to check my phone. I need to post something, like, and the thing is, I actually haven't posted until very recently that I wanted to get back into the community of the dance community, the hip hop community, the popping community. Like I made a choice because like before this I was doing my competitive gaming stuff, and I'm like I've told my gaming friends like I'm gonna retire, which I am. I've done what I've done with the gaming. Now like I want to get back into my love for music and DJing and being a part of like what really moves my soul. Which is the community. And it's always great because now I think back to it. My social media is going to the events, right, and being social with people. But it's so weird now because like at the events you'll find some people that you communicate with online a lot, but then when you see them in person they don't talk to you at all. It's like that's so weird. Right? Like it's social media is like a definitely a double-edged sword. Like it can make you communicate and feel like you're close to somebody, but as soon as you see them in person, do you still act the same way, like. And so with my with social media now, like I know it's a must for me to like showcase the music that I'm working on. but I know that I've done like a lack of posting for about the beats, right? The day one, day two. Like I said, it takes a lot of work, right? I have to record myself. I have to go into Adobe. I have to edit. I have to make the cover. You know, all these things, and it's like that takes up so much time that is, you know, doesn't really pay like your bills. It's just a passion project, you know. And in any case, like I know it's important, as you know, I know like there's like other tips that you should be doing as an artist, you know, which is like branding yourself, and that's another aspect is your brand, you know, like how do you treat your brand? Your brand is very important, and if you don't like if you don't treat your brand as others do, then what's the point, right? And so I feel like I have, like you said, a love hate relationship with it. It's like I don't want to get on there, but at the same time I have to. And I know other artists probably can relate, you know, in other art forms, right? But yeah, it's definitely tough, and I'm trying to do my best to stay consistent with it, and that's another key word that I'm trying to like run with is consistency in anything that I do, and staying consistent takes a lot of dedication, and it's very selfish, right? In a way, especially if you have a significant other, you know, and a life outside of dance, a life outside of DJing, like there's only so much time in the day, you know, and who do you give your time to, you know? It's very tug of war, right? Like you gotta go see your friends, and then like, okay, when you get back home, are you gonna practice music? Are you gonna get in practice your scratching with DJing? Like, what do you do? You know, do I put more time into social media? Do I put more time into creating the content? It's like I said, we do everything ourselves, right? All we have is ourselves, you know. And I think that social media is important, but at the same time, it's not the end all be all, you know. But you know, do your best, I guess, to post every once a week or once every 2 weeks, you know, just so that way people know you're alive and you're, you know, show them what you're doing, right? As your brand, you know, because people use it now to like think that they're close to you, and it's weird, right? Like they're like, I know him because I follow him or I follow her, you know, or them, you know, that you know I can talk to them the way I talk to them. So there's that aspect too. But anyways, that's I digress. But yeah, I agree. Love hate. It's important.
Yeah, also agree like with you that like social media is important. I think it's also important like in kind of which country you are, because like when I was like in China, how long ago? 5 years ago, I was there for 4 years, and there like there is like no Instagram, no YouTube, no
That's
Gmail,
right.
nothing. And I was building my platform like in other like platforms, and also kind of like I was DJing for the club. We had radio show, and I continued DJ when I was in Sweden for the club. But
Hmm.
because it was their radio show, I was built.
Okay. And okay, I restarted, and we should be good, but it's still showing dropped frames. I don't know why, but it's taking a little bit. The good thing is it's happening towards the end, and yeah, it's
Yeah.
still frozen, huh? Let me see. Yeah, there's
Hey, we're
like a
back.
lot of dropped frames.
Yeah, I think